Andy, you've got an appointment next year that raised a lot of eyebrows, that caught the imagination of the whole country. What was the thought process in bringing Joey to Fleetwood?
Should be quite polished on this question, really, because I've been asked probably 100 times so far. I think initially my answer is, come the end of tonight's event, you'll know why we've appointed Joey Barton, and you'll get an insight into what he's all about, and I'm sure you'll be on exactly the same page as myself. What I'd like to stress is that this is not anything to do with boosting the club's profile. The reason why Joey has been appointed is because he is, by far, in my opinion, the best man for the job. I think he's got everything that we need to drive the club forwards, all the attributes that we require, and it's going to be one hell of an exciting season ahead. I honestly think that in 15 years I haven't felt the buzz around the club that there currently is, and this season will be one that I'm sure everyone associated with the club will remember for a long time.
Brilliant, right? Just going to be the first to put their hand up and go right in the front row. Just one more thing as well. Everybody who asks a question tonight, if you say your name, we're going to put all the names in a hat, and there's a signed copy of Joey's book. We'll just pull it out of the hat at the end just to encourage you to ask questions. And that's available in all good bookstores as well, by the way.
Bonjour, Mr. Barton. My name's Joe Jolly. I'm a programme seller at Fleetwood. First of all, I just want to say, before I answer the question, is I, a few weeks ago, listened to your Cambridge press conference at the university, and I was really inspired by it. And you said about how to revise for the exams, work hard, and I was very inspired by it. And a couple of weeks later, I passed all my exams at college. So I just want to say thank you very much. I should be really proud of that. My question is, recently I've never seen much events going on with the community. I don't feel like like science sessions, players we involve local community events like Tram Sunday here at Fleetwood. So how do you feel, how important is it for the players to get involved in the community and yourself as manager? Do you think it really would inspire the fans and especially young kids to get involved?
Yeah. Well, sorry, what was your name? Jolly? You're going to call you Jolly? Your parents happy with that? Yeah. I'll call you Jolly, it's easy to remember. I'm bombarded with names at the minute. Listen, great question, and I can't take credit for you passing your exams, but there's a lot of bad press out there about me, so I'll take any positivity. But yeah, look, this football club is community-based club. Me and the chairman spoke about that. It can work in many ways for you. The poolful facility, we've got people coming in and out of the building. It's important that the players feel at one with this community. Fleetwood being a town of 25,000, we're going to play Sunderland next year, who a stadium holds more than the town. But also, that kind of behind the goal, the one way in, one way out. We've got to create that culture where these big clubs and these big teams don't want to come here. I think you've done that really well historically in the past. And the community, and you use it the football club. I know Andy's been part of a massive change to the football club, but if we come to this stadium and there's no interaction and it's quite low key and people aren't engaged and aren't excited and proud of the football team, then it's difficult for me to get the players up to perform. If you come and you make your noise and you make it intimidating for the opposition because you feel at one with the club, and that makes my job a hell of a lot easier. And the adage of, it's often bandied about in football, of the 12th man. You don't need 50,000 people to make that. This stadium can get rocking and be intimidating, and it's our job to make you come and engage. It's not pay your money, you should just cheer the team on. It's my job and the players' jobs to get your bums off your seats and get you right behind the football team, and we intend to do that.
Very good. Any more questions, any follow-ups? There you go. Again, if you say your name so we can put you in the draw.
Yeah, my name's Martin, Joey. What sort of formation are you going to go for? Are we going to go for it with wingers, or will you go with the formation of the opposition, or what's your preferred formation?
If you don't give me that mic, I can't answer. I need that mic of you to answer. Look, I think football can get bogged down a little bit by formations, and it's all about player application. You can put any player in a formation, and if they're not bought in and they're not fit and they don't want to work hard and try hard, it doesn't matter what they're playing. We want to be a team that is on the front foot, that gets you, as I said, off your seats in this stadium. To do that, we've got to play attacking, energetic football. My belief is, and I don't want to give the opposition, because you get kind of paranoid when you become a football manager. You never know who's listening and tuning into Twitter feeds or Facebook or whatever this stuff goes. But I intend to play 4-3-3. I think it's the best way. I think it best suits the players we've got at our disposal. We've got a very energetic front line, lads with pace, a lot of guile, want to come in the pockets and score goals. And I think losing Pondy, who's obviously a legend at the club last year, I think he worked really well in the back three. I think losing him makes us have to play a back four. I'd like to play with fast attacking wingers, and surely if Jamie Vardy gets sold, Andy will cobble up a couple of million. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Hopefully he has a good World Cup. No, but we've got some good kids here. My thing as well is, the clubs in the embryonic stages of academy. It's Cat 3 now, and they've got intentions, and by all accounts been audited and very, very high marks in the audit to get to Cat 2. I want to see Fleetwood lads who are developed by Fleetwood playing in the first team. So the likes of Ash Hunter, I know he's not a Fleetwood lad, but it's kind of the fans can relate to him. Harrison Biggins has been excellent since he's come back in pre-season, and certainly made me sit up and take notice. And the more we get of those boys, you've got young Donahue, who's done all right, Harrison Holgate, who's a first year, has done exceptionally well, Baines, Sharon, exciting kids. And I was a young English player who was developed within the system, and there's very, very few opportunities for those boys higher up the scale. And the onus is on us as young British coaches to develop that. And one of the first things I said to Andy was, let's kind of filter down the process and take away these kind of random foreign players, because we've got a lot of good players in and around this area. We've got to make sure that for this generation we get them opportunities to see if they are good enough, but also to send messages out to everybody else that, hey, if you go to Fleetwood Town as a 17-year-old, there's a pathway into the first team if you're good enough and you work hard enough. And I think there's a real onus on that. And I'm a football fan, and I love nothing more than seeing a homegrown kid come through and develop his talent, and hopefully we can get them. But obviously the bottom line is, if I don't win football matches, I'll lose my job. So it's finding that balance between the two.
Hi, Ian. So a bit of a double-edged question, really. One part is aimed for Andy, and it's you referred to Pondy just now, Joey. We've lost Pondy this season. And any plans to rename one of the stands in honour of Pondy to recognise that? And secondly, Joey, you mentioned some of the youngsters, but one name you didn't mention was Billy Crellin. Where does he feature in your plans?
Andy first.
Okay, I mean, losing Pondy was kind of unlike losing any other player, because 16 years I believe he'd actually been with the club, and it's hard to imagine the club without Pondy, because he's just been here so long. He's been part of the magical journey that we've been on, from the very lower regions of non-league all the way up to the top of League One. So it's something that is very much on the to-do list to discuss. We've been very much in the holiday season since this happened. We didn't anticipate it happening. We had actually extended Pondy's contract by another year. However, we were always mindful that if somebody came in and if somebody gave him a very good package and it was a longer term deal, then we should respect his best interests. He's got a very young family, and we had to do the right thing by him. And it was one of those conversations. It was a bit of a tearjerker, really. It was when he was leaving. It was we didn't see it coming, but it was we just had to do the right thing. And it's great that everything comes to an end. Every football player will one day hang his boots up, or he will leave the club that he's been a huge part of. But what was really good was the manner of his exit. It was a very elegant exit, and it wasn't a case of him being dropped and no longer featuring and being shipped out somewhere. He left with a really good handshake and the door's open forever. You've been a big part of us, and you're always welcome back, and we'll help you in every possible way. But to answer the question, we haven't discussed how to recognise really the outstanding service he's had at the club. But we will be once everyone's back from holidays. I think Steve Kerwood's been away for God knows how long. It feels like a lifetime. I'm having to do far too much work.
Only 2 days. Yeah, it's only 2 days Steve's been away. We're showing how important he is. No, I think with Billy, we've had Billy across with the first team, obviously in the initial couple of days. He's obviously highly rated England kid. You think an 18-year-old outfield player is probably, a chance because there's more opportunities for him to play. The problem with Billy is 18 and being a goalkeeper is like being 12 as an outfield player. It's very, very young for goalkeepers. But as I've said to him, I spoke to him yesterday. We had a great conversation where he told me he thinks he can be Fleetwood #1. I'm like, okay, I like that, I like the attitude, and he's got the ability clearly. But then you've got to do the hard work. This afternoon I made the goalkeepers run with the players just to give them an appreciation of how hard it is to be an outfield player. It's easy to stand in goal and just catch balls when they come in every now and then. Stuart won't like that because he used to be a goalkeeper. But made them run because I think there's a you've got to be fit now to be a keeper. You've got to be able to use your feet. So I spoke to Alex, to Matty Irwin, and obviously young Billy who's across with us. And I want them joining in the football because to be a modern day goalkeeper, as we're seeing with the top boys, the Edersons and the David De Gea's, you have to be able to play football. You can't just stand there and catch balls anymore. So we've got a really good goalkeeping group. I think Alex has a good influence on him. He'll be in and around the first team picture, training with us because we've only got 3 goalkeepers. And we'll see how it develops. But for us, he's an exciting prospect, and hopefully that he goes on to fill his potential and starts giving me selection problems sooner rather than later.
Now this is Beryl, whose daughter works at the training ground and all day has been warning Joey that his mum's got some questions, so we're dreading these.
How many can I have? Right, first of all, can I just get this out of the way to Andy? Just like to thank you for reconsidering the pricing system. We didn't think that anything was going to happen with it. Quite a few of us were getting a bit scared. But you did it for us, so thank you. Okay? Right, the next one, Joey. Are you going to behave yourself, are you? And also, we started taking you to our arts. So you're getting in already, you've only been here 2 days. But we are growing to love you, so we would like you to just
behave.
And I know you said you're going to take it easy this season, but really, are you going to hit the ground running?
Good luck, that one.
I mean, I'm trying to behave myself. Are we going to hit the ground running? You never know. You know what I mean? I don't want to externally put any pressure on the lads. I mean, I think they've suffered from that pressure before. I think after the season where they had a really good season and almost got into the playoffs and almost got into the championship. I think last season was maybe teams. I've seen teams historically suffer kind of playoff hangover, and I don't know whether that affected the building. But certainly, I think when John Sheridan came in, he's kind of deloaded the boys, took the pressure away, and obviously they responded positively towards that. So the challenge for us is just to build on that. Look, I wouldn't be at Fleetwood Town if I didn't think I'd win every game. People might think that's unrealistic, or me kind of getting a bit ahead of myself. But that's the intention: to win every training session, to get better. We're better today than we were yesterday, as a group, as a collective, as individuals. We do that tomorrow. We're in a good place, So over 9 months, who knows where that'll take us? But as I say, I ain't come here to finish 14th or 12th. I've come here to get better, and for me, I want to be part of the history of this football club, and that means taking the football club to places it's never been before. That's why Andy's brought me in, and I've got some phenomenal people with me who are probably a lot better than me at what they do, which helps me be the best version of me I can possibly be. So listen, as a Fleetwood Town fan, as a player, a young player at this football club, it's exciting times, and I'm just happy to be part of it, and hopefully you'll give us your support and backing and help us along the way.
Right, just before we move on, we've got a couple of questions being handed in. Just one from talking about the future of Fleetwood Town, one that's just been handed me by young Daniel McNicholas down there. It says, Joey, I play for the younger academy, so how do you plan on bringing up younger players like myself?
How old are you? 10. Well, if I'm still in the job, when you're around the first team pitching them, it says we're doing fantastically well. Academies, as I said earlier on, I'm a young Englishman who got an opportunity at Man City as a youngster and took it. So I feel there isn't a lot of opportunities for our kids now, and they're proven. Talking to the lads only this afternoon, saying, Steve Black, who's with us, who's a phenomenal addition to the club, was engaging with the lads this morning, and he was telling them, if you think you can or you think you can't, you'll be right. The lads did a body of work this afternoon, and I said to the lads, if you really, really want to get better, and you really, really want to take this, fulfill your potentials, then you can do whatever you want to do. There was 2 kids who played in League One not long ago, played for England in the World Cup last night. Dele Alli, Harry Maguire. So we've got young lads in our sheets. I'm saying, hey, Nick Pope was playing for Charlton. He got relegated out of the Championship the year we won it at Burnley. Signs for Burnley. Tom Heaton does his shoulder. It's in the England World Cup squad. He probably, I think, is the best keeper in the World Cup squad. So football's a very, very strange game, and also a very, very psychological game. And for our young players, for the likes of yourself, we've got to show you pathways, because you've got to believe that you can one day work hard enough to get in our first team, work smart enough to get in our first team. We've got to get that. We've got to get this feel-good factor in and around the town. I'm aware of the social, economical status of the Fylde coast. You've got the affluent parts, and you've also got the parts that maybe need a little bit of a boost. And this football club's right at the heart of its community. And I've been at clubs, Newcastle's and Marseille's, where it's one club in the city, and if the team wins, the place is bouncing. And you're very much part of this community, very much part of this football club. We're winning games. You go to work Monday morning, or after the Tuesday night game, Wednesday, you got that spring in your step. And also, want to beat Blackpool a couple of times.
Any hands up?
Hi Joey, it's Pat here. Is it right that you've hung up your professional boots? Because it would be good if we had you on the bench as well in some of our games.
Yeah, I had to hang them up. I played in a charity game for Alderey at Goodison about 6 weeks ago, and it used to take me 24 hours, 48 hours to recover from a Premier League match. And let's just say it took me about 10 times the amount of time to recover from a charity game. So, no, look, we've got some good young players, and at this moment in time, I've got the utmost confidence that they can deliver. I think, me, Eddie, Blackie, the chairman, people at the club, we spoke long and hard about it, the pros and cons for playing. And look, I'd love to say I can roll back the years and get my boots on, but I also think if I was an opposition player in League One this year, and I saw the opposition manager rolling on his boots, it'd take me about 2 seconds to empty him out in a tackle. So it's probably wise that I don't play for fear of a giant target on my back. And it's better, like you point out, I'm here to behave myself. I'm not sure I could adhere to those standards if someone kicked me after a couple of seconds.
Some hands up. Got plenty of questions here if not. One from Darren Dickinson, and he's a question to Joey, and he says that I feel the squad has lacked a set-piece free kick specialist for several years. Is this something you think is important, and are you looking to recruit in that area?
David Dickinson was that? Daniel Dickinson. Anyway, cheapest chips. You have to kind of come in with fresh eyes. I mean, what's gone before doesn't help us. You know, it doesn't matter what's gone before, because it's not going to help us today. Whether we could defend set plays or whether we had people who could score set plays last year, that ain't going to help us. 4th of August, when the league campaign starts, it's on us to work on that. You know, we will be the best prepared team in League One. We'll be the fittest team in League One. Anything that happens after that, we're kind of in the kind of flux of football. Need a little bit of luck to go your way. But I think if people are set up correctly and have the desire to go and stick their head on a ball, then you keep balls out your net. If people are demotivated, or I don't know what else to say, it's tough for me to talk, so I weren't here before, but we know there's lots of improvement. You know, the slogan we've got about this group is the best is yet to come. So we've been drilling that into the players. The best yet to come from this team, the best yet to come from this group. For me, the best yet to come from the football club, because the places we want to go and the teams we want to go and play against, not only this season but next season and beyond, you know, are slightly different to the teams that we're going to face this season. So the ambition is right. Massive part of the game is obviously set plays, but I think we'll be prepared sufficiently, and if we're not, no doubt you'll tell me about it, shouting from behind the dugout.
Hey, good evening, Joey. What's your thoughts behind signing Jason Hall?
Just the way you've asked that, it sounds like a very loaded question.
Obviously with an accent, you know that.
Are you Celtic or Rangers?
Don't swear at me. Andy will tell you.
Oh, he said you're Celtic. No. I think just adds absolute quality to the group, and we're always looking to add quality. I mean, I didn't when I spoke to the recruitment guys, and I'm like, have you scouted Rangers? Have you? They're like, no, because Fleetwood don't usually recruit from Glasgow Rangers. But Fleetwood do now, and we're delighted to have Holty with us because he's a phenomenal player. For whatever reason, he was available, and you know, I was first on the phone to him, and I think that helped us out massively because he said, you know, you were on the phone, you wanted us, and we've got to be that way because we're not, you know, Glasgow Rangers, we're not some of the big clubs, Man Cities and that, where our name will just allow us to get whatever player we want. We've got to be creative, we've got to show people love, we've got to care about the people we get in the building, and we've got to do things differently, and getting Holty over the line was a real good coup for us, I feel, and he'll get you off your seats because he's a great little player. I know because I've trained with him, you've probably watched him, he gives us everything, runs through brick walls for us. Craig Morgan signing from Wigan today, another good signing, leadership profile, adds to the group. So we're moving in the right direction, and nobody will come to this football club that we wouldn't put our name to. I wouldn't be doing my job correctly if I just spent Andy's money. You know, I've been putting him off spending money on a few, saying I wouldn't spend my money on him, so I don't think you should. And it's very rare you get a manager saying that at the chairman. He's usually trying to get him to empty his pockets out, so it's quite refreshing from his point of view. But I'm a working class lad, I don't believe you should waste money, especially not here.
Chairman's grinning away next to him there.
First of all, welcome to Fleetwood, Joey.
Thank you.
It's a fantastic appointment, and I think everybody in the room would agree with that.
Thank you.
Noticed today that Clint Hill's hung up his Twitter boot, so you can do the same.
Some of us are, you know, used to the spotlight, some aren't. So, you know, for Clint, I don't know why he came about. None of us spoke. We were in the car yesterday driving home, and Clint just said, "I just need to focus on this." And you know, that was not something that came from us. I mean, I've already adjusted incredibly how we use it, certainly in the last couple of months, and since I've stopped working in that kind of antagonistic position of being a media pundit, I was very, very I found other outlets to get me frustration. So I watched England last night, wasn't as pleased as everybody on the BBC sofa was with them. Felt we were really unbalanced, and if I was manager, I'd have definitely done things differently, but that's probably for the next 10, 15 years away. And I was obviously now have a coaches group on WhatsApp, and I was just sharing my thoughts there, and I got in the car with Ed this morning, we drive in. He said you weren't very complimentary about England last night. And I said, yeah, but that was the stuff that usually went on Twitter. At least it just kept private with us lads. So, I'm aware of being a manager and obviously setting the tone for this. I'm an ambassador for not only the football club but for the town. I was talking to Tommy Fleetwood before he went out and played in the US Open, a golf club that we played at. And he said, Fleetwood, I love Fleetwood because his name. I said, because your name's Fleetwood. He went, no, I just like what they stand for. Obviously because it's Fleetwood as well, and then obviously because you're there. So I've got to remember that, I'm an ambassador now for this town, and I don't take that lightly, and I know it's a key role, and last thing you need is me getting involved in a dispute with somebody on Twitter. Well, you, especially you,